Welcome. What we wanted to talk about today is the day before Pesach, in the morning. The day before Pesach is one of the busiest days that we have throughout the year. We have special Torah commandments that apply only to this day. And so many things go on. For example, in the morning already, we stop from eating Chaimowitz and fermented bread. We take the Chaimowitz and we burn it. We sell it. We declare that we have no connection to it. There are a lot of things going on around the Chaimowitz, the morning of Pesach. And what we wanted to do today is give some sort of order, give some sort of clarity to what goes on. So practically, when the time comes, we'll be able to go through each part of the morning as we should. But before that, I think it's only appropriate that we try to understand, why is it that God was so clear and so insistent that we get rid of any chametz or leavened product? We know that we have a great mitzvah to eat matzah on Pesach, but the chametz we have to desist from already on the day before Pesach. From the middle of the day, the Torah says we cannot eat any more leavened bread, leavened products. And then we go and we take the chametz and we burn it, and we nullify it, and we say, I have nothing to do with it. Why do we have to be so insistent and intent on getting rid of any chametz that we have connection to? The Zohar, the Holy Zohar says, Matzah reminds us of our inclination to good, of our Yetzer Tov. Chametz reminds us of our inclination to bad, our Yetzer Ra. What does that mean? Says the holy Bnei Yissaschar, the great Hasidic leader and author, the Bnei Yissaschar of Dinov, writes in his Sefer, when a person makes a leavened product, bread for example, you mix the flour and water and you add yeast. When you add the yeast, the dough starts to grow, starts to become bigger. And when a person then ingests that bread, a little bit of that energy enters him. He feels a little bigger. He feels a little bigger than himself. He feels almost at times haughty, maybe even conceited. Matzah, on the other hand, is made by simply mixing the flour and water. Nothing is added. It remains flat. And just like when it's kneaded, it's put flat into the oven and baked. It remains totally flat. When we ingest the matzah, we get a certain message. The message of the matzah is, all that the matzah is itself. When we ingest matzah, we get a tremendous message to be ourselves. Says the Torah, I don't want you to eat chametz on Pesach. For a week of days, don't have any connection to that haughty feeling, to being conceited, to being greater than who you are. Just be yourself. Just be. The greatest level that we can reach is just to be. To be in touch with that tremendous potential that's inside each and every one of us. I don't have to be better than my friend in order to prove how great I am. I'm already great. We each have God-given talents and abilities that are wondrous. Each and every person in the world is gifted with their unique abilities that make them the greatest person in the generation in that specific area. We can be proud of who we are by just being who we are. And so God says, on the day before Pesach, I want you to desist from any leavened products. I don't want you to eat these type of foods that give you an extra energy, an extra boost. You know what? Maybe sometimes you need that, and that's why you can eat it the rest of the year. But for 1 week of days, subsist. For 1 week of days, only eat matzah and matzah products. Because the matzah, when you intake of it, will be an act that internalizes into you the importance of being yourself. When we eat the matzah on Pesach, every bite, every time we eat matzah, we remember all that's here is just what you see. What you see is what you get. It's just the matzah. And that's really the message for us. We can be ourselves. It's okay to be who we really are. So many people, unfortunately nowadays, have certain negative beliefs about themselves. And in order to compensate for this negativity that they feel about themselves, they have to sort of feel greater than the next person. They have to make themselves greater. They have to present themselves as being even greater. Pesach is the time to forget about all that. We don't have to play the game. We don't have to be better than someone else, or certainly not to put down someone else to feel better about ourselves. We throw out, we desist from all those negative beliefs about ourselves. We're happy. We enjoy the greatness of our own potential. And so therefore, when it comes Pesach in the morning, we have all these different ordinances about what to do about the chametz. We stop eating the chametz, we burn the chametz, we nullify the chametz, all the different things that go on. What we need to think about as we do that is, just like I'm now burning the leavened bread and leavened products in my possession, I'm now burning away from inside of myself all of my negative beliefs. I'm getting rid of all of that negativity. Throw it into the fire. Get rid of it. I'm going to start anew. I'm going to be ready to receive the great abundance and blessing that God has ready for me that's about to come down on the awesome night of the Seder, on the awesome night of Pesach. And so now we'll go over some of the practical things to remember on the morning of Pesach. The first thing is, as we mentioned, we need to stop eating chametz, not right before Pesach comes in, not right before sundown, but already from midday. The Torah says in Parshas Beshalach, Ach bayom harishon. However, on the day before Pesach, tashbisu sa'or mibotechem, you shall subsist of any partaking of leavened or leavened products from your house. Get rid of it already the day before Pesach. And so, now when it's the morning, the day before Pesach, we can still eat chametz a little bit in the early part of the morning, but not for very long. The end time to eat chametz is usually between 9 till 10:30 in the morning. It varies each year. So in order to make sure what the time is this year, just check your local Jewish calendar. It should have the time for the end of eating chametz on the day before Pesach. Make sure to eat a good breakfast. If you need to finish some leavened products, bread, cereals, etc., finish it before the end of the time to eat chametz on the day before Pesach. Afterwards, we have a rabbinic ordinance to take the chametz that's left in our possession and to burn it. That means that if we have any actual chametz in the house, that's leftovers, something that won't be a big monetary loss for us. So, a half a bag of flour, a half a box of cereal, some extra slices of bread. Don't throw it in the garbage. Take it outside and actually make a fire and burn it. As we mentioned, the purpose of this is to do an act that will actually internalize within us the message of the chametz versus the matzah. When I stand outside and I make that fire and I throw all of my leavened possessions into the fire, I should think what I'm throwing in are all those aspects of negativity that I find in myself. I'm not going to view myself as negative anymore. I'm not going to play the game that I used to play. I'm not going to remain in the same behavior patterns. Now is the time for change. The day right before Pesach. And at that moment is a time to even make a special resolution. I'm going to become a little better. At the special Seder night tonight, I'm going to accept something upon myself that will be able to carry me with the positive message of my potential throughout the entire year. Once a person concludes burning the chametz, he should then recite the special declaration of nullification of the chametz. These few lines of declaration of nullification of chametz appear in any Haggadah. You can check your Haggadah of Pesach, it's right at the beginning. Take it with you to the burning of the chametz, and once the chametz is totally consumed by the fire, say the few sentences that declares nullification of chametz. It's very important halachically. Because with that, what we're saying before God is that any chametz that's in my possession, I totally nullify, I have nothing to do with. I'm getting rid of it. I'm not going to continue to have ownership over it. And what that means in a spiritual manner is also all of those negative actions, all the negative behavior patterns that I now have no connection to. It serves as a tremendous tool to propel us forward for the upcoming year. And very often, a person will even be able to sense a certain sense of purity, an aspect of uplifted spirit after finishing the burning of the chametz. That's all in preparation for this special light and spiritual bounty that's about to come down tonight, the Seder night. The third thing we do in the morning of Pesach is that if a person has any leavened products that would be of large monetary loss to him, so we don't expect him to throw it in the fire. An example of this would be expensive whiskeys, scotch, etc., that are made with byproducts of grains. So customarily, we don't have to burn these. What we can do, halachically, is to sell them to a non-Jew. A non-Jew doesn't have the commandment of not owning chametz products on Pesach, and so when we sell them to the non-Jew, it's considered as if we don't have any more chametz products in our possession. The way this is customarily done is that people from the community go to the rabbi. They appoint the rabbi as an agent for them to sell their chametz. They give him what could be called today the power of attorney over all of their chametz possessions. And they say, now you can sell. You have the power of attorney to sell all my chametz possessions on the morning of the day before Pesach to a non-Jew. And that's what the rabbi does. So therefore, in order to fulfill this part of it, the part of selling the chametz, make sure that if you see that you have any expensive chametz products that you're going to have to keep in your house over the course of Pesach, make sure to be in touch with a rabbi, even by telephone, before Pesach. Tell him that you want him to be your agent. You want him to officially have the power of attorney over all your chametz products, and that he should sell them on the day before Pesach for you. Once you do that, you've already completed eating the chametz. You've taken the chametz that's left in your possession that doesn't have great monetary value, and you've burned it. And you've sold the rest of the chametz that has any value. You are now chametz free. Your possessions are totally clean from chametz. And now we're really ready to enter the Yom Tov. Those chametz products that you sold and are still in your house, make sure to close them up behind some sort of partition. It could be in a closed closet. It could be in a closed shelf. Mark it on the outside to remember that it's chametz products and that it's sold to a non-Jew. And then our entire possessions are chametz free. Now we're ready to enter that special mode of eating the matzah on the night of Pesach. One more thing that's important for the morning is that in terms of getting ready for for the Yom Tov, it's required halachically that if a person wants to hygienically get ready, we need to do the following two things before midday. Haircuts are only permissible before midday. Cutting of the nails, only permissible before midday. That's another thing to remember. The day before Pesach in the morning, make sure that whatever haircuts or nails cut that need to be done before midday on the day before Pesach. May God help, and we be able, each and every year, to get that special message that the Pesach holds for us. To realize that we don't have to be caught forever in old patterns. We don't have to have dust settling on certain developed behavior patterns that they should remain throughout life. We can clean out our possessions. We can clean out all the nooks and crannies in our house and in our hearts to get rid of any residual type of haughtiness or conceitedness. We can just learn the message of matzah, to be ourselves, to be happy and proud with the awesome message of godly potential that rests within every one of us. We'll be able to carry this message from Pesach throughout the entire upcoming year.